Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hi, dear friends. We are back today with our book, Living Spring, and today's chapter is 18. Excuse me, that we are going to discuss. It is not only. But before we begin, let's remind ourselves before we listen to any lesson so that we can relax, be mindful, let's breathe, bring our thoughts together so that we can truly listen to this messages. Not only, man does not live on bread alone, and in Jesus in Matthew 4 verses 4. Not only warm clothing that protects the body, but the shelter of high knowledge that strengthens the soul. Not only the comeliness of the physical face, but the beauty and nobleness of the sentiments as well. Not only the eugenic that improves the muscles, but also the politeness that refines one's manners. Not only the surgical procedure that extracts the organic defect, but also one's personal effort that annuls the source defect. Not only the comfortable dwelling in which to live one's physical life, but also the invisible home of edifying principles in which the spirit becomes useful, esteemed, and respected. Not only the honorable titles that decorate the transitory personality, but also the virtues that enrich the eternal conscious in the day-to-day struggle. Not only light for one's mortal eyes, but also divine light for one's imperishable understanding. Not only a pleasant appearance, but effective helpfulness as well. Not only blossoms, but also fruits. Not only ongoing teaching, but active exemplification as well. Not only an excellent theory, but also sanctifying practice. Not only ourselves, but others too. The Master said, man does not live on bread alone. Let us apply this sublime concept to the immense arena of the world. Good taste, harmony, and dignity in one's outer life are a duty, but let us not forget the purity, the loftiness, and the sublime resources of the inner life with which we progress towards eternity. Today, Emmanuel is reminding us to not only focus on the material things around us, and he's telling us about a lot of things, clothing, and our homes and all this. And we know that we are supposed to look after ourselves. It is good to be clean, and it's good to organize, and it's good to work for what we have and need on earth while we're here. But the most important thing is for us to focus on the inner good, the inner bread, the inner things about ourselves, to focus on the eternal things. And he explains it in wonderful ways. He says, not only warm clothing that protects the body, but shelter of high knowledge that strengthens the soul. So he's comparing clothing. And there's a lot of phrases in the Bible, excuse me, as well, that compares clothing with knowledge and strength of the soul. To clothe ourselves with knowledge and to clothe ourselves with peace and kindness. And he says, not only the comeliness of the physical face, but the beauty and nobleness of sentiment as well. So beauty is not on the outside. Beauty is this wonderful virtues that we have towards one another. Not only the agentic that improves the muscles, but also the politeness that refines one's manners. This is quite important and not much seen in these days. These um, nobleness and politeness of refined manners. Not only the surgical procedures that extract the organic defect, but also the personal effort that annuls the source defect. And this is to know ourselves, to know what is our triggers or where we need to still work on ourselves. It's a great way of explaining it. And he says not only the comfortable dwelling in which we live one's physical life, but also the invisible home of edifying principles. The house that we live in is a spiritual house, and we know this is as well where our thoughts are. Where are our thoughts at? Because this is the house we live in. And we are constantly reminded by Spiritism, especially in most of the books, is that our thoughts is the house that we live in. Where can we see what do we think about most of the time? And that is the thing that we work on then. Not only the comfortable dwelling, sorry, it's the next one, not only the honorable title that decorates the transitory personality, but also the virtue that enriches the eternal conscious in the day-to-day struggle. He says he's talking about titles that people um, highly respect these days, but it is good to educate ourselves and to be useful in these titles. But Emmanuel is telling us that the virtues that enriches our eternal conscience is much in the day-to-day struggle is much more important. Not only light for one's moral eye, but also divine light for one's imperishable understanding. To understand why and why are we here and what is the purpose and what are expected of us is more important than anything. Not only a pleasant appearance, but effective helpfulness as well. To be helpful. Appearance is a manifestation of our soul in this incarnation. And we go through many appearances as a woman or a man in different incarnations. So the outer is not important, but the effective helpfulness, it is who we are and what we can give others as well. What do they get when they are in your presence? What do we admit, as they say? And that is the question that we need to ask ourselves through the day, especially when we are in contact with a lot of people. What do they take? What energy and what understanding do they take from us? And then it's like you will be nice to someone that maybe needs it. Just a smile or a great thought that you send their way. Maybe a small prayer. And then they feel better. And then they give this out to the next person. So it's like throwing a stone in the pond. And the ripple effect of one good deed, of one smile, of one good energy, will have a great effect on many people if we would focus on the good. I don't think we truly understand how powerful we are in that regard. Not only blossoms, but also fruit. And in this phrase, he's telling us not to just bloom, but to be useful, to have fruit for people to eat, to give these nice kindness, to understanding, all these fruits that are helpful for our fellow brothers and sisters. Not only ongoing teaching, but active exemplification as well. And this is an important one. Not only teachings, not only lessons, which is truly important, but active exemplification to be actually going out and practicing these lessons to make it a presence in our lives. Not only an excellent theory, but also sanctifying practices. Not just a theory, not just talking about it, and not only ourselves, but others. The I, sometimes, that is too much that we talk about. We will go and we will say I and I and I, but we don't ask, how are you doing? And practicing mindful listening, which is important. To sometimes not um, listen to reply, but just to listen, just to be there, this ear of understanding sometimes that we don't do because we talk too much about ourselves. Um, the Master says, man does not live on bread alone. Let us apply the sublime concept to the immense arena of the world. And this is truly needed. Good taste, harmony, dignity in one's outer life are a duty. But let us not forget the purity, the loftiness, and the sublime resources of the inner life with which we progress towards eternity. So today we are reminded to work on our inner life because this is the progress towards eternity and not to put our focus too much on the outward world. Thank you so much for joining me today. Um, may everybody be blessed. Until next time, thank you so much. Bye bye.